Hello. What's up, everybody? And welcome to the Spice Oh Life. Welcome to another episode, guys. So, this episode is going to be about. So, the moral of the story is.
The moral of the story is. This is what it means, and this is how to down, and the moral of the see if you can figure it out.
You're right. You're so right, Christopher. You're so right.
How y'all doing out there? How y'all Spice of Lifers doing? How y'all doing? How's it going? What's going on, y'all?
You know and as you see, we're still on vacation.
Oh, we're in because we in our environment's making us happy. Anyway,
yes.
Let me ask you this. So, what do you have something in mind? Something on your mind, or you want to get that party started? You got a story to tell?
Yeah, I got a story to tell. We got more stories to tell. So, if you haven't seen the other stories that segment that we did, here it is up here. Just click the link here. That's episode. This is episode 7? So that would be episode 45.
45.
All right, so let's get this show on the road. All right, so this is going to be about what to seek a revenge or forgiveness. All right, so story number 1. All right, you know what? Okay, before I start, I'm gonna mention this. Somebody said that my laugh was like a witch, like I laugh like a witch. And when I just laughed now, I was like, that's what they're talking about. I can see why they say that. I never said that. I'm not trying
But it is unique.
I'm not trying to laugh. I'm sorry, guys. That's just how I laugh.
Sometimes you don't realize it. It's kind of like an old school. Sometimes it does sound a little dastardly. But I've never used. I don't know who told you it sounded like. Oh, I thought we were expressing our feelings or something.
So I have to make it a point to try to laugh different. Okay. So, I do.
Yeah, you do that too. You do that anyway.
Well, my mom does. I got that from my mom.
She sees something laugh,
and my grandma, my mom, and my grandma.
And then sometimes I'll be like, "What you laughing at?" No, not that. I was just.
I do.
And it just be something she had to show me later.
All right, so here we go. Once upon a time, there was a wise old man who lived in a small village. He was known throughout the land for his wisdom and his ability to solve any problem that came his way. And one day, a young man came to the wise old man and said, I have a problem. I have been wronged by someone and I want revenge. What should I do? The wise old man replied, before you seek revenge, you should ask yourself if it is worth it.
Wow.
Revenge may make you feel better in the short term, but if it will not bring you true happiness, I'm sorry. Let me say it again. Revenge may make you feel better in the short term, but it will not bring true happiness. The young man thought about this for a moment, then asked, but what if I don't seek revenge? Won't people think that I'm weak? The wise old man replied, true strength comes from within. It takes more courage to forgive than it does to seek revenge. If you find it in your heart to forgive those who have wronged you, you will find true happiness. The young man thought about this for a moment and then thanked the wise old man for his advice. He left the village feeling much better than he had before. So here's the moral of the story. And the moral of the story is...
That's our theme song.
And the moral of the story is, forgiveness is a sign of true strength and courage. It takes more courage to forgive than it does to seek revenge. That is so true, everyone. It takes more work to forgive. So the person that's seeking the forgiveness, or they willing to just forgive, just imagine how that is and how much better you feel in the outcome. But it is so easy to revenge because I want that person to, they need to pay for what they've done. And no, I'm not going to forgive them. But guess what? That's going to hold right here in your heart. So, what are your thoughts on it, Christopher?
Yeah, I think that's a good moral, and yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
heart can be something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a saying. It can be treacherous, or it can be, depending on the condition, it can be a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
talk about feelings and pride that's involved in this,
Oh,
and
pride,
humility as well.
pride,
So
yeah,
it's like,
pride.
I'm gonna say this: there are things I can tell you that people have done to me, and some folks have done over and over and over again. But guess
And
what?
over.
Me holding that in my heart, it hurts me because nobody ain't thinking about what's going on, and they probably don't even, they're not giving me a second thought,
And nobody ain't got time for that.
and nobody ain't got time for that. So the best thing that I need to do is move on, let it go.
Cold doesn't bother her anyway.
Exactly.
Um, I have one. This one's kind of short.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you, this is a popular one. Some people know. But I always tell my version of it because versions are slightly different. Um, so there was the young city gnat. It was time to fly. So he leaves. All right, see ya. And
All
he goes
right.
flying
See
off into
you.
the city.
See you
And he
later.
picked up things right real quick there. He come buzzing around through the subway. He was able to get some of the foods and snacks and the nets, and people swat and play. They don't even see him because he's so small. And he just buzzing like that's exactly right. Buzzy, buzzy, buzzy. Always just doing his thing. And one day, he met one of the family members of the other Nat family,
Mm-hmm.
and they told him, "Say,
Mm-hmm.
man, there's too many of us here. We got
Yeah.
to go to another city."
Let's
And the
go.
other Nat was like, "Yeah, hey." The young Nat was like, "I'm young. I don't care. I go to another city. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be good times there. I'm gonna make it happen." So he went a buzzing, buzzing, buzzing. He had to cross over this meadow, and it was like quiet, but you could just hear this little tiny buzz. If you listen close, you could hear it. And then he comes across this big old cow bull,
Mm-hmm.
lands on the tiny tippy horn of it.
Ooh.
Take a little breath,
Oh yeah, he's
wipe the
tired.
little Nat brow.
Phew.
He
Whew.
taught some manners. So he says, "Excuse me, kind cow. I'm about to make my leave. I'm sure you was like this crazy gnat is on my horn making all this noise. I know you're glad I'm about to
Yeah.
leave." And he buzzes. And as he buzzes, the cow was like, "Wait, what?
Mm?
I didn't even know you was on my horn. I didn't think nothing about it." Anyway, and then
Yeah.
that go buzzing off like, "Excuse me," and goes to the next city. Now here's the moral.
Okay.
Sometimes we may do something we think is important. Sometimes we
Mm.
may do some things not so important.
Yeah.
But we always going to think more of ourselves than others do,
Yes.
whether it's positive or
Yes.
negative. We always going to think highly when other people got their own problems, and they usually 99.99% of the time ain't thinking nothing at the level of
Mm-mm.
what you're thinking of it. You're going to amplify
Oh.
yourself more than anyone else, like Mr. Nat.
That is so true. And when you think of it in that way, it is what it is. And if you want to
Big
write a
time.
show, it is what it is. Click up here. So
So that's the moral of the story is.
yeah, so basically, that's just how people are. You think more of this of a situation of a anything than somebody else ever will. And that to me, sometimes that's time wasted. Well, in certain situations, if stuff needs to be addressed, it needs to be addressed. But just know that, right, we think highly of things more than we should.
And I might have another one later on about overthinking and all that stuff.
All right.
Thinking the mind can.
Here's another one. It's called The Shepherd Boy and the Wolf. All right, a shepherd boy tended to his master's sheep near a dark forest not far from the village.
Mad.
Soon he found life in the pasture very dull. All he could do to amuse himself was to talk to his dog or play on his shepherd's pipe. So one day, as he sat watching the sheep and the quiet forest and thinking what he would don't know what Chris is
Sound
doing over
effects. He
there.
was.
And we was thinking he would. I'm sorry, let me start over.
Whatever.
One day, as he sat watching the sheep, the quiet forest, and he would, thinking he would do, and thinking what he would do should he see a wolf, he thought of a plan to amuse himself. His master had told him to call for help should a wolf attack the flock, and the villagers would drive it away. So now, though he had not seen anything that even looked like a wolf, he ran toward the village shouting at the top of his voice, "Wolf! Wolf!" As he expected, the villagers who heard the cry dropped their work and ran in great excitement to the pasture. But when they got there, they found the boy doubled up with laughter at the trick he had played on them. A few days later, the shepherd boy again shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" Again, the villagers ran to help him, only to be laughed at again. Then one evening, as the sun was setting behind the forest and the shadows were creeping out over the pasture, a wolf really did spring from the underbush and fall upon the sheep. In terror, the boy ran towards the village, shouting, "Wolf! Wolf!" But though the villagers heard the cry, they did not run to help him as they had before. "He cannot fool us again," they said. The wolf killed a great many of the boy's sheep, and they slipped away into the forest. So the moral is, if you keep lying, no one will believe you. Even if you are speaking the truth, always speak the truth.
If you're speaking the truth, always speaking the truth.
Yeah, and think about this. You can tell a lie you can't repeat. The truth is always going to be the truth. So whenever someone is saying something to you, and and I always it's good. You want to be a person that's known to tell the truth, or be, what you call it. All right, if someone says, if your reputation is that you lie a lot, that is not good, because how can you reverse that? Because nobody's gonna believe. Just like this shepherd boy, they didn't believe him.
It takes a lot of work to reverse it.
It does.
And you're gonna always have some people. Again, like you said on that first one, you're gonna have some people that's gonna always kind of be stuck in some ways, and some that are able to, oh, okay, he's trustworthy now, she's trustworthy now. But the best thing to do is just build up an honest way, be trustworthy. Have that kind of be a pattern that you have, and you should be okay.
Exactly. That was a good one. So,
Yeah, it's harder to close the honey jar when it got a lot of bees in it.
that's true.
Ding, ding.
Yes.
So don't even make problems for yourself.
Don't.
Speaking from birth. But here's another one. This is kind of like the CSG creation. So there was this big, huge, huge tree. I mean, it's called the Big Mother Tree. And this huge, huge, big tree had all these limbs on it with these leaves. And they all, when the wind come their way, they sway, especially the top ones, the ones way up the top near the sky, like they up there. Those are the ones that get most, they be swaying. They be like, yeah, look at me. The limbs, like, look at me and my leg, look at my leaves, y'all.
Look
just
at me.
swaying in the breeze. And all of them are pretty happy. But one time, one of the big ones up top noticed down at the bottom, they were all kind of still, and down the bottom, the little one down there just swaying. He was like, oh, what's going on? He's swaying and I'm not swaying. Well, he noticed, and he started coming like down to it and looking down and said, why are you swaying? How come I'm not getting no air? And he talked to Mr. Air, and Mr. Air is like, what's your problem? He's like, why is it? He said, that's where the breeze is. And he's talking. And while he's talking, he's not noticing the rare event of the golden sunshower sun, which gives them the energy and rays of their leaves. And all the leaves near the top get the most energy to supply the tree. And they started turning like, wow, because it's so rare. They hadn't seen that in forever. And they turning. But the tree, that's one of the limbs up there, still like, okay, so you say that you just happen to be blowing down there with that limb, and that limb is, before you know it, he missed the whole thing because he's so worried about the wind that happened to just blow that day down there, even though they mostly get all the air. And so, what do you think the moral of the story is?
I would say the moral of the story is don't concentrate on too much of what's going. I mean, you gotta,
When
you
you
know,
get overly focused, you're on the right track. When you
yeah,
get overly focused on small and mundane things, you can lose out on an advantage on all the wonderful things going on around you. You have a lack
that
of
is true.
appreciation for it.
That is
And
true.
you're going to miss out if you keep that kind of pattern up of worrying about small little things that you can't do nothing about, usually don't have
Hmm.
nothing to do with you, and it becomes some kind of focus.
Well, I like that in that what you can do is being grateful. And that's one thing that I'm going to start doing. That's part of my
Be happy for where you
journey
are,
is
what you
to,
got, and where you're going.
yeah, is to be grateful and just list things that I'm grateful for every day. And then what I would do is, look at this, of all the things that I've written down, make sure I write things down, but also look at them. So when I'm feeling a certain way, I can look back on the things that I'm grateful for. And like you say, some things are very small, and I remember there was this saying that, everybody got their own bag of things that they are carrying. If you look at somebody else's bag and see what they're carrying, you're going to want to keep your little bag of whatever that you think that, you have, you know. So yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, you like that one?
That was good. Yeah, to make
Mm-hmm.
this kind of like a self-reflection there.
Yeah. Well, did I tell you the one about the? It's a different version of the lion and the mouse.
I don't
I know
think
I
you have.
mentioned it to you, but I don't know if I mentioned it on the. Did I mention
Mm-mm,
it on
I don't
live?
think you have.
Do you want to hear that one?
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
sure?
Sure.
Okay, so this is a slightly different version. I got two versions, but
Mm-hmm.
this one may be more popular. Where you had the king of the jungle, the lion. He's just having fun, minding his own business, roaring about in the jungle, and the mouse can hear it, but he didn't know where it's coming from. And he runs up on into the lion and almost literally comes right up under the lion's
Mm.
paw. He's so frightened, and the lion's like started laughing, like, "What are you doing?" Oh man, and I'm hungry too. And then the mouse said, "Please don't eat me. I'm so sorry. I got lost.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you, I'm telling you, if you let me go, I got your back. I always got your back." And the lion just chuckled like, "You, my back." He was so jovial mood, even though he thought that what the mouse said was hilarious. He let the mouse go. He's like, "All right, you go on about your
Mm-hmm.
business."
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward a few days, Lion's doing his thing in the jungle, letting everybody know he running things, and boom, he got caught in a snare trap, and the net just got him,
Mm.
and now he's in a pickle, and he's roaring and making all this noise. Of course, nobody ain't coming. Like, oh, no problem. He's doing all that roaring, but the mouse heard him, and he knew that was slightly different. Plus, he was friends. He said, "That's my boy. Let me go see what he's doing all this wrong about." He walks over there and he sees that this lion is stuck for a few days, not looking too good for him. It's stuck in his net.
Mm.
And the mouse said, "Well, hey man, no
Mm-hmm.
problemo. Guess what I got? Sharp teeth. I got to get all these things down anyway. Let me take care of that rope for you." And before you know it, the lion had been released out of the rope.
Hmm.
So, what do you think the moral of the story is?
You're never too small to help anybody. Or you shouldn't. I guess pride. Think about the lion and the pride.
Well, let's think about this. We'll break it down. We would say what the lion did for the mouse is very what? It's one of the fruits of the spirit. Start with a K.
Kind.
It's very kind.
It
That was
was
a
kind.
kind thing for him to do because lions don't do that. And then what the mouse did for him was the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Never, never shorten your kindness towards people. It's okay. It doesn't make you weak to be kind, no matter how strong you are, because you never know when kindness will be paid forward or paid to you. It's okay to be kind. It usually comes back around.
It does. That's a good one too.
Kindness is a strength. Remember that, not a
It
weakness.
is. It is. And when you're kind to someone, regardless, it does come back to you. I mean, I know Chris did say that, but you just never know when it does.
And think about it like
And it could
this.
be in a small way, it could be in a big way, but
Make it a
be
part.
appreciative of it.
Exactly. Make it a part of who you are. Not to say, oh, okay, now I'm gonna get something back. Just develop that as part of you. It doesn't make you a
Exactly.
weak or bad. People believe for some reason that, oh, if I'm too nice, they're gonna take it the wrong way. Or this, and yeah, or there's some people that have some can find fault in anything you do. We talked about that. But there's actually power in kindness. The lion showed that, and because he thought nothing about it, he was just genuinely kind, and the kind was paid forward. Could have been paid forward, but it came back to him. No matter how small or big you think your kindness is, you never know how difference it's going to make in somebody or your life.
Amen.
There was a little tiny thing to the lion, made a big difference to the mouse. And it probably wasn't that big a deal to the mouse, but it was a big deal to the lion. So kindness is powerful, not weak.
All right. Here's another one. This may be the last one we got time for. Okay, here we go. To respond or react. Okay, at a restaurant, a cockroach suddenly flew from somewhere and sat on a lady. She started screaming out of fear. With a panic stricken face and trembling voice, she started jumping with both her hands, desperately trying to get rid of the cockroach. Her reaction was contagious as everyone in her group also got panicky. The lady finally managed to push the cockroach away, but it landed on another lady in the group. Now it was the turn of the other lady in the group to continue the drama. The waiter rushed forward to the rescue. In the relay of throwing, the cockroach next fell upon the waiter. The waiter stood firm, composed himself, and observed the behavior of the cockroach on his shirt. When he was confident enough, he grabbed it with his finger and threw it out of the restaurant. Sipping on my coffee and watching the amusement, the antenna of my mind picked up a few thoughts and started wondering if the cockroach was responsible for the histrionic behavior. If so, then why was the waiter not disturbed? He handled it near to perfection without any chaos. It is not the cockroach, but the inability of the ladies to handle the disturbance caused by the cockroach that disturbed the ladies. So, moral, I understand I should not react in life. I should always respond. The women reacted, whereas the waiter responded. Reactions are always instinctive, whereas responses are always well thought of, just and right to save a situation from going out of hand, to avoid cracks in a relationship, to avoid making decisions in anger, anxiety, stress, or hurry. That is a good one. Reaction and response. Response is thought of. So, something crazy is going on when you're responding out of reaction. You are stressed. You're not in your right thoughts, in your right mind. Whatever decision is made or whatever is said is a reaction. It's not gonna, in most situations, it's not gonna be one. It's gonna be one that you're gonna regret. So when you're responding to it, well, that means you're thinking about it, just like this waiter's thought about, okay, how am I gonna do this? And how am I gonna get this cockroach off my shirt? He waited and just grabbed it and just in a very, in a very calm way. And you think about the reaction, think about what happened with the ladies. They were hysterical. And guess what? Who responded hysterical? Other people watching it responded to the same way they did. So it's like you have to take in your surroundings too when you're reacting. Because let's say if you're reacting out of anger, just imagine how others that's looking upon the situation, they're soaking that in and they're responding as well.
Yeah, think and respond instead of think and react. It reminds me of I don't know if any of y'all are familiar. I'm sure some of you are familiar with Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
You remember the part where Bill Murray came in, his the mayor was choking and his wife was like, ah, that's a reaction. People were like, ugh. And he came in, poop, popped the thing right out of his mouth,
Yeah.
saved his life. Ladies that tire went flat, they didn't know what to do. They was like, oh, what to do? He came and pumped the tire, changed the tire. He was responding more so than reacting. our little granddaughter, she fell. I was thinking through like how to deal with what just happened. Jordan reacted, which is a
Her
good
mother,
reaction.
which is our daughter.
Yeah, and I think you reacted by ooh, and then the grandmother ooh, Sabra ooh, and those are reactions where I was trying to think of like how can I respond because she stared at me, she stared up at me literally, then went into Whitney Houston mode and did that. And mama got a responded from that and reacted and responded to that. So yeah, it's a lot of good more. That's a good one.
I was thinking about this too. In situation you see where it could potentially go really bad. Instead of reacting, respond. Have something
Think it through a little
already.
bit.
Yeah, think it through before responding because
If time allows.
your reaction could cause a really, really crazy outcome.
Especially overreacting.
Yeah, if you overreact.
Overthinking it.
Yeah.
That's usually what gets in trouble. I was just watching this before. I know we lose time, but I was just
Yeah, that's
watching
fine.
this airplane thing where the engine blew, and then the captain immediately was like, "Okay, I'm going to take control." He told the assistant captain, "Go to the manual of an engine, how to deal with an engine blow." But the captain's brain kept going, and so the assistant cap, the co was going through the procedures. He had did some things, and then right in the middle of that, he said, "You take control." And then he started announcing to the people that they might have to do a landing, which is not what he's supposed to do. Now he's in overreacting. He's overthinking it instead of responding, thinking it through, responding. Okay, do a procedure. I'm gonna keep the plane control. That was a good response, and then he overreacted to it, and then they had to catch back up. Almost lost again. A plane almost. Everybody was safe. But because of those slight movements, they almost lost control of that plane.
Yeah, so think about this, guys. Respond. Don't react. Response is better than a reaction.
Ring, ring.
Yay, yay, yay.
Hello.
Hello.
Responding. No.
If you think of different situations, think of some situation where you know you reacted, and then think of a situation where you responded. If you can't think of anything, well, think of when somebody else, if you know a situation where somebody else responded versus react, you'll see there's there's a better chance of the outcome being something but positive.
Yeah. Think of good or helpful responses. Sometimes natural reactions can be the best response, but not overreacting, not underreacting.
Right.
But not, have control of it. A control reaction is a response.
Yeah. Could be.
That's what I say when you're in control.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for joining us. This has been another
Spice.
Oh. Live podcast. Guys, this is episode 47. We're almost to 50, and we're going to celebrate number 50.
Celebrate number 50.
With us. Like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.